If you're thinking about relocating to Sarasota, Florida, there's a good chance you're doing exactly what most of our buyers do. I mean, you're researching online, you're watching YouTube just like this, you're trying to figure out whether Sarasota is really a good place for you to want to come to. And here's the reality. Sarasota is an incredible place to live. I mean, beaches, culture, great restaurants, boating, golf, all of it's real. I came from a big city and I love this sort of big city amenities with a small town feel. You know, it's great here. But there's also a few things that surprise a few people when they move here. So this video, I want to share 7 things you absolutely need to know before you move to Sarasota. I mean, before you relocate to Sarasota, you need to make a smart choice and a smart decision to avoid the mistakes that some buyers make when they move here. Because some of them, you know, they just move and buy a house. I mean, if you stay with me to the end, I'll tell you one of the mistakes relocation buyers make more than any other when choosing to live in Sarasota. All right, here we go. Let's start with a question most everyone asks first. What does it actually cost to live in Sarasota, Florida? Compared to many places in the Midwest or Northeast, Sarasota is going to feel more expensive. I mean, I came from a big city on the West Coast. Yeah, this place is relatively inexpensive for me. Groceries seemed a little bit higher priced, but you know, I was near the breadbasket of America, so it wasn't a problem. For most people coming from the Midwest, this place is expensive. In fact, Sarasota may be more expensive than Naples and maybe more expensive than Tampa, right? So home prices are what you're probably thinking about when you talk about home relocation, not necessarily the cost of living. Home prices vary widely here depending on where you buy. And most relocation buyers are looking somewhere between the $400,000 and $800,000 range for a single family home in a desirable area. Now that doesn't mean you can't find some homes for less. And of course, if you're into luxury, you know, homes are going to definitely be on the higher end than that. But the range tends to be where many relocation buyers land, right in that $400,000 to $800,000 range. But housing price isn't the only part of the equation. You need to think about property taxes, homeowners insurance, flood insurance, depending on the location, HOA and community fees in some neighborhoods. I mean, those are things that often end up surprising people when they first start looking seriously. They're not sure about the pricing, and then they find out how expensive those things can be. So the second thing relocation buyers often are surprised by is homeowners insurance in Florida. Florida insurance works a little differently than most states because we live in a hurricane-prone region. We've got flooding, wind, we've got all those things. I mean, policies may include things like wind deductibles or hurricane deductibles, which are often calculated as a percentage of the homeowner's insured value, right? It doesn't mean insurance is impossible to get. It's far from it. But it does mean that working with someone who understands how insurance interacts with property location, elevation, and home construction can really help you make a smarter decision. A good realtor that's trained understands these things and looks for those things, but we also recommend an insurance broker that can shop and help you find the best rates on those things. So there's a lot to keep in mind. I mean, some homes require flood insurance. Depends on the flood zone and the designation. Are they in a flood zone X where there's no problem? Or are they in an AE where it's going to cost you more? And understanding flood zones is something every Sarasota buyer should look at when they're making an offer on a property or before they make the offer, really. That's why having a consultant like myself or someone else that's qualified, it can really make the difference for you. One thing people often assume when moving to Florida is that if a home is near the water, it must be in a flood zone. But that's not always the case. Some areas of Sarasota sit at a higher elevation and are considered lower risk, while other areas, particularly close to the coastal or waterways, may fall into higher flood risk zones. And there are some areas that are in between. There may be near a river or a slough, and there are some flood risks right there. So what's most important is to check the flood elevation. We need to make sure that you've got a good elevation certificate or that you're in a good flood zone. I mean, it doesn't mean you shouldn't buy near the water, but you really need to check your elevation certificate before you buy a home. And it simply means it's important to understand the insurer's requirements and the long-term costs before purchasing a home. I mean, many people live happily near the water, right? The next thing relocation buyers often underestimate is how different Sarasota's areas can feel. I mean, people often search things like best neighborhoods in Sarasota, Florida, but the answer really depends on your lifestyle, not necessarily the area for others. For example, if you want a master planned community with newer homes and amenities and social activities, places like Lakewood Ranch in Sarasota and Bradenton or Welland Park in Northport and Venice are very popular. I mean, they're beautifully planned communities. If you want something closer to downtown with restaurants and arts and walkability, then areas around downtown Sarasota and Southside Village may appeal to you. But you're also going to be looking at older homes that are very well established, some maybe up to 100 years old, anywhere from the 50s, 40s, 30s. Yeah, they can be that old in the downtown area. So you really need to look. I mean, if you're looking for something like beach access, which everybody loves the beach, right? Not everybody wants to live there, but many do. And if beach access is important, many buyers look to the areas closer to Siesta Key or the Barrier Islands. And then they may look at Longboat Key because it's got a different feel. Anna Maria Island, that's a whole different animal. Lido Key has got a beautiful beach. There's so many different keys along the county of Sarasota and Manatee County that, each island and each beach, each one has its own feel and its own access. So having a guide, that's really important, but it's really about the lifestyle. Even between islands, the lifestyles can be different. So it's something to take some time and consider and spend a little time looking around. Each area is completely different feel. And that's why when we work with relocation buyers, we usually spend time taking them about and asking them, what is it you're looking for? Where do you want to live? How do you want to live? And not just what house you want to buy. It's really about lifestyle because you're going to be there. You're going to lock in. Number 5. Another thing you should know before relocating to Sarasota, Florida is the summer weather, my friends. I didn't know about summer weather when I moved here. I knew about heat, dry heat. Yeah, I'm from the West, but I never knew humidity till I moved here. I mean, winters are beautiful. And that's why people fall in love with Sarasota when they visit. Most people come down here from the Midwest or from the East, and they've been coming a long time with their families, so they know what it's like in the winter. It's very nice. I mean, no snow, no problem, right? But the summers, if you become a year-round resident, summers are hot and they're humid. Humidity like you've never known. Well, maybe you have, but for so many months on end, it's a struggle. It's Florida, right? So the good news is many locals adjust. I mean, I adjusted. It took me about 3 years to adjust, but I adjusted. And, my lifestyle adjusted too around the seasons. What we typically do, if we get out with our friends that have their boats, we go boating early in the morning, hang out at a sandbar in the afternoon in the summers, on the weekends, and then it's hit a restaurant in the evening or afternoon. There's more indoor activities during the hottest parts of the day. That's typically what we do, stay out of the heat. And then honestly, in the winters, I mean, they make up for a lot of it because you can do almost anything. You can do almost anything indoors or outdoors in the wintertime here. Personally, favorite time, spring and October. April, October are probably the best months here in Sarasota. Number 6. The next thing relocation buyers should understand is something we call season. I'm filming this right now. We're in season, and spring break is about to come down on us. So everybody that has spring break and things get a little empty around their town, they're coming here. Yeah, from roughly January through April, Sarasota sees a significant increase in population as the seasonal residents return. Our population swells. People that live here year-round complain, it's so crowded. They're so unhappy, and they're tired of people literally I've had people go backwards in a roundabout in front of me, and it wasn't pleasant, and I don't understand it. But they're not from out of town. I mean, they're not local. They haven't gotten used to the roundabouts. They are from out of town, that's what I'm trying to say. And things do get busier. I mean, restaurants get busier, traffic increases, events and social activities do ramp up. There's a lot more going on in town because there's more people here and more entertainment. But the summer months, things do quiet down and it does become more relaxed. In fact, usually right around Easter in March, April, suddenly you get you're getting used to all the seasonal people being here, and then all of a sudden it's quiet and you go, where did they go? Yeah, it gets different here. So it's something to get used to. It always ebbs and flows. I mean, some people love the energy of people here when it's in season, and then others prefer the slow summer vibe. It just depends on your personality style. But getting around, you've got to take it with a grain of salt. Got to relax and chill out, and don't honk. it's something to know before you move here. All right, so for those of you that made it to the end, that stayed with me here, here's the biggest mistake that I see relocation buyers make, and it's actually pretty important. They choose the home before they understand the lifestyle that they want. Sometimes buyers will pick a home because it looks great online, or they walked into the model, or something we showed them, and they're just so excited about being down here. But after they live here for a while, they realize that they wanted to be closer to the beach, or maybe they wanted to be closer to downtown, or they wanted to be in a community with more social activity. That's why my team recommends that relocation buyers spend time exploring the different areas before committing to a purchase. We even like them to spend a day or two just exploring, then regrouping and meeting with us about the neighborhoods again. Maybe even take a week or two and enjoy some time, or a couple trips. Yeah, we don't want you to rush in and buy. We don't want you to be unhappy about it. We just want you to explore and feel most comfortable where you want to live, right? If you're thinking about relocating to Sarasota, Florida, I've put together a Sarasota Relocation guide that walks you through the areas. I've got communities and different things buyers should know before they move here. And you can find that in the link in the description below. If you talk it through and your situation's different and you think you want to move here from wherever you're moving from, whatever lifestyle you're looking for or thinking about, we can help you find the right home and the right community that fits your needs. You're always welcome to reach out. You can call me at 941-960-8844. I'm John Butegaards with World One Home Group at KW Suncoast, and every relocation situation is different. So contact me. We'll sit down and talk. I'd love for you to subscribe and watch the next video. I'm going to be continuing on talking about some situations that happened when we were taking some buyers out recently. So thanks for watching. See ya.